How's it going, everyone? Today we are reviewing Survival Nation for the Quest 2. I have covered this game before on PCVR, both single player and co-op, and I'll leave those videos in this description. After this video, if you're still interested in the game, definitely check out the co-op vid for some laughs. Now I want you to prepare yourselves for what is a bit of a roller coaster of a review. I've spent an extremely large part of my day playing Survival Nation and have just got to level 13 after 4 to 5 hours. I've been mostly focusing on offensive perks in my skill tree, and I'm only just setting foot in the next area of the map, which is pretty massive. Survival Nation is an open world zombie survival game, and once you're loaded in, it never loads again, and I've enjoyed exploring the map. The game is also based purely on stats. Main missions unlock via your current level, and zombies in the local area are, for example, level 1, but further east across the map, they're like level 16 and above. So let's say you're level 5 and you get hit by a level 16 zombie, you're probably going to be dead in 2 hits. So let's be clear, this game is all about stats and leveling. Good news is there's lots of side missions to keep you on the climb, and while they're not always massively interesting, and nor really are the characters at the camp that you're talking to, there's definitely enough variety to them to keep me engaged and kept me pushing further and further away from my starting point and into more danger on the map.
Worst thing I could have ever imagined happened. My father, he's there. He's turned.
Now before we go any further, if I could put this game in like a category of other games I've played before, it would be Arizona Sunshine, loosely mixed with State of Decay. The zombie combat is slow and cumbersome, and only their level really makes them a threat. You get ones that are big bloaters, you get ones that scream and charge, but on the whole, none of them really do anything until their health gets to a certain level, and when it does get to that level, they'll charge at you. But when they go to hit you, their swing animation causes them to freeze, therefore making it very easy to dodge. So the combat's fine when it's like one-on-one. It's when you get too obsessed with the combat, or you're fighting one of these larger area bosses, that you can find yourself suddenly overwhelmed. But this is, to be fair, quite a rare occurrence. Killing these area bosses leads them to dropping schematics for upgrading certain weapons, which you can only level up if you have enough scrap, and herein lies the gameplay loop. You do missions to level up. You gather items to craft other items to level up. So ultimately, all you're ever doing is leveling up to be able to make your way across the map. And this is where I want to call this a time-wasting game, but I mean this in a positive way. I believe there is lots of hours of gameplay here if you're the sort of person who likes to grind over and over, and I personally like mobile games like this, for example Vampire Survivors. But don't get me wrong, there is plenty of negatives going on, and while some may be patched like zombies dying and simply sinking into the map, or an object floating, or the music getting stuck on repeat, there's some real embedded gameplay mechanics that they've decided on which I don't think will ever change. The stupid gunshot noise you hear when hitting a zombie over the head with a melee weapon never ever ceases to annoy me. The unchallenging combat, as I mentioned earlier, even a one-on-one duel with any zombie should be at least a little bit of a challenge, but it simply isn't. And after a while, you'll just be walking by them because they're just not worth the ammo, because you're going to be such a high level and they're going to be so low, which means you end up doing quite a lot of walking until you get to another map where you can fast travel. And then there's the bland, outdated graphics. While it does serve the purpose really well, and I gotta admit, being in a massive open world map in VR is very cool, there's definitely a lot of improvements that can be done to make this game look a lot better. It's almost like the developers want you to experience a certain level of jank. All that being said, I didn't find the jank massively off-putting. But it is always there, ready to give you a slap round the back of the head the moment you're having a really good time and forgetting how much jank is around. But again, with all that being said, I find the game also quite thoughtful. As I said earlier, you've got fast travel. For example, your health will slowly come back as long as you're not too thirsty. And the crafting, for example, is simply a case of getting the recipe and then clicking a button. So it's not hard, but sometimes getting the bits you need to craft the items can be difficult. Survival Nation, to be honest, has me struggling. On one hand, it's kind of bad, but in another hand, it's kind of good, and I didn't want to stop playing. The price of $29.99 is slightly too steep, and definitely too steep for players who want to take a risk, and that's what this game actually needs. It needs more players to take a risk, to spread their opinions on a game that is actually quite good fun. And it's definitely even more fun with a friend. It's just a shame the developers haven't really focused on improving the game since I played it in early access. I'm imagining their main focus was purely porting just for income. As a result of all this, I'm going to give Survival Nation a 6.5 out of 10, on the understanding it's got a lot of content on offer for someone who can look past the lack of quality and simply enjoy what's on offer. Thank you ever so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one.